again. Hold on.
Yeah, be doing that on the book of Facebook. It popped up live on the Zoom.
The book of faces be acting all the way up. Hold on. Let
You
me
wanna do a zoom, and a bam, bam.
just shake your. What you know about that song? What do you know about that song?
You know my
You,
life, son.
you no, you young. You young. What you know?
Yeah, know my life.
What you know about that?
Girl, I know listen.
Okay, so now
Listen.
I can see it on Restream and the Book of Faces. Let me see.
We lie, baby.
I see ya. Woo, woo. Okay, well, we gonna wait for people to hop on the live. I suck this week. I did not put any promo out there, and it actually turned out to be a good thing because we have a topic request, a topic request that we talked about.
I saw said topic and was like, "Oh, we gonna go there today."
So,
Okay.
shout out to Etoya, who is one of our consistent listeners, watchers, viewers, etc. I love when people put stuff in my ear to talk about on here because the whole point of we gonna talk is for us to talk about the stuff that is like real situations, real generational trauma, real,
Let's get it.
generational curses, and really talking about the healing journey openly, authentically, and transparently. So when I have somebody being like, I would really love to have this be a topic and y'all discuss it, it just really does my heart so good. Like, it just makes me so happy. I'm so filled with joy. And so I actually was thinking of this being a topic before, but I love that when something comes up and it's put on my radar that we just jump into it and we don't wait and we just like, let's make time to talk about this very, very important topic. So there have been a couple of TikToks going around, a couple of posts going around. I've seen a couple of them, different ones. I've seen the TikTok and I've seen like an actual post of a woman saying that she regretted motherhood. And so it was this really huge like thing. I mean, a lot of people were, feeling some sort of way about it. But I really think that it's a really, really, really important topic that we do need to talk about. We need to do it very openly and transparently so people can really understand like where those feelings came from without judging her. Like it's hard out here being somebody's whole mama. Like it's really hard. And I can genuinely say, hey, Cree, I see Creesha join us and I see you in our chat saying, hey, cousin. I really think that people don't understand because even for me, I knew that being a mother was going to be a very important job. I'll say it like that. But I don't think I quite understood the level of sacrifice, the level of care, the level of nurturance, the level of just so many things that happens like once you become someone's mother. It's a really, really big shift. And we are not given the space to talk about the not so glamorous side of being a mom without being judged, because society says that we should enjoy being mothers, like this should be our purpose, like,
this is our primary function.
This is our primary function, right? And we're not allowed to embrace some of the tough parts about being a parent and being a mom particularly. And there's some tough stuff about being a mother. It is not rainbows and butterflies all the time. And sometimes it ain't rainbows and butterflies at all. It's like I'm drowning, I'm struggling, I'm trying to figure this out. And you're trying to do that in the midst of still being you, still having goals, still being a wife, still being a daughter, still being a sister, still being an auntie, still being all these things. And you can get completely lost in motherhood. And it's hard. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So, we're going to talk about that today, sis. We're going to talk about the other side of motherhood that is a detriment at times for Black women, for Black moms especially, and how that becomes a generational trauma in itself. So, you ready?
I'm looking up this movie on, I'm trying to find the name of it. I think I might have mentioned it on here before. But there is not a show, but a movie on Netflix. I'm trying to find it, that recently came out, maybe a couple months ago at this point, and I loved it. I loved it.
What's the name of it? Can you
I'm
remember?
trying to find it. I'm
Who's
like
in it?
currently actively Googling. The young lady from Riverdale on the CW, if anyone has ever seen Riverdale on the CW.
Okay, so it's not going.
Basically the main girl, the blonde one.
I ain't never watched Riverdale, so.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh no.
Anyway. You know what? It just came to me. I think it's called Look Both Ways.
Oh my gosh, yes, that movie was really
You watched it. We did talk about it because I
did.
remember you said you were going to watch it after we talked about it.
Yes, really good movie.
Really good.
I absolutely enjoyed it. And okay, funny story about watching that movie, right? So when I first decided to watch it, I was kind of like in between working and I was doing like other stuff. So I was a little distracted trying to just watch it like in the background. And I was so lost. I got to the middle of the movie and I was so confused because I'm like, wait a minute. It seems like
you gotta watch that movie.
You have to pay attention.
Lost.
Because I didn't see the part where it was like the two different choices or the two different paths, right? Like how would it have ended if they
girl, yeah. I hope you just started over and tried again the next day.
I had to because I was sitting there lost as hell. I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand. Like, wait a minute, there's a kid and now there's not a kid and she's doing this and now she's wait, she's got two boyfriends.
It's
like
amazing.
It was a really good film.
And I love how they did that. I love how when I say love, LOVE exclamation mark at the end with the heart emoji, love. Okay? How they did that, the duality of that, because the reason why I brought that movie up, one, because it specifically talks about motherhood, but what it speaks on is the conflict externally and internally that one has when you become a mother. And this is something that people a lot of times don't talk about. People are starting to. We are about to. But then also, most people will never understand. No one will ever understand unless they have become a mother. And then motherhood is different for each individual mother. So no one can ever fully understand you and your motherhood. You know what I'm saying? Because it's individual. But for me, it was some very pinnacle moments. And this is why I bring the movie up, because it was fast.
It was a really good movie. So the movie that we're talking about, for those that may have just joined or missed it, it's called Look Both Ways, and it is on Netflix. And it's apparently starring one of the stars from Riverdale. I don't know who River or what.
Okay, CW was my guilty pleasure.
I listen, no judgment. I've never seen it, but
I fell off on Riverdale a long time ago. They just kept going.
I've never seen it.
Weird.
So, I'm not sure what it is, but
I let All American Homecoming, which is basically a different.
I watch All American, but I haven't gotten into Homecoming yet. So
it's a different world for this gen, and I love it.
Okay,
I love it for us as a culture.
Do you, boo? Do you?
And then I also watch the DC shows like Flash and all of that stuff too, and Black Lightning when it was on, stuff like that. CWB popping for the
now
culture.
We watched Black Lightning. I just never saw Riverdale, but
you ain't missing much.
Okay, well, carry on with your.
Anywho, some points from that movie that like really hit home, and I wanted to bring up at the beginning of this conversation because I'm going to bring it up consistently. One is the conversation between the mother and the daughter once she had the baby. Now, initially, again, the movie is called Look Both Ways. It's on Netflix. I recommend everybody watch it, male, female, it don't matter. You should watch it because it'll give you a lot of insight. But the young lady gets pregnant, Spark Notes version. She gets pregnant right after college, or she doesn't. Watch the movie to figure out.
It's like freshly, right? I mean, it's graduation
like
night.
graduation night, right? Like fresh. Okay, she just turned in the exam. All right.
Right.
So graduation night, and then it follows her on this journey of her figuring it out, going through life, living, right? And what does that look like as a young mother whose plans got interrupted? Because she had a plan for her plan, okay? And then what does that look like on the other spectrum, getting to live out that plan? But after she, told her parents she was pregnant by her friend, her friend was very supportive. He was there. He like, we down, what we doing? Let's go. The parents were upset initially, but they were, very supportive. They came around. But after she had the baby, it was a conversation that her and her mother had, a heart-to-heart moment that I thought was absolutely A1, and I think needs to happen with all mothers. In this conversation, she told her daughter something that I think all mothers need to hear and understand. And it was that as a new mom, you are mourning the person you used to be. The young lady was sitting on the couch. She was just sad and kind of crying. She didn't really understand why. And her mom was like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She's like, "You ain't okay." And she told her this, and she explained to her why. And this is something that I think is so important, so powerful, and so poignant, because most moms don't get that conversation. Most moms don't get that understanding of the fact that.
Let me comment on that in particular, because
I will. Let me say this real quick though. The fact that a part of you does indeed die when you become a mother, and it's not like we aren't who we were, but we are. Like, there is no form of us, no matter what happens from this point on, that will ever be that same person before that baby came out, or before that pregnancy was found out. You're a completely different person from that point on, because now you have another person to take care of. You have, even God forbid, if something happens to the child, you are still a mother, period. You know what I'm saying? Even if your child grow up, get grown, you are still a mother then, because that's a different version of you, with grown kids. That you got to figure out that life stage after they grown now. You know what I'm saying? Every single stage after you pregnant is a whole different person than you were the day before that. And so that was so powerful for me. But go ahead. What you gonna say?
I was going to say that movie in particular really, really resonated with me, because it was actually like my reality, like in real life. So I found out that I was pregnant with Noraya when I was in my last year of undergrad. I was a senior, and just about to be done. It was like February. So I literally we were on quarters at the school that I was at. So I literally had the second quarter had pretty much just started. So I was like literally at the finish line, right? And I found out that I was pregnant. And I was terrified, because I'm like, okay, I am not ready. I haven't even begun to like have a job, a real job. I'm working at the Home Depot trying to just get through, college and finish college. And Robert was away at school. He was down in Carbondale. So it was just like, oh my gosh, like we had all of these plans and we had all of these things that we wanted to do. And although we knew we wanted to be with each other, and he was very like upfront from the beginning that he felt like I was the one and he wanted to have a family with me. I wasn't really sure if I ever like wanted to go down that road. I had a much different vision for who I was going to be as a person, as an adult. And so that was also very difficult for me because children did not fit in that idea of who I thought I was going to be and what I wanted to be, right? So, finding out that I was pregnant and then deciding to go through with the pregnancy and have our daughter, I ended up having a really tough pregnancy. So I ended up having to be put on bed rest. The school at the time, the chairman of my program was just a real piece of work. He did not want to give me a medical discharge from my class or withdrawal from my classes. So instead, I had to take all Fs for the quarter.
Wow.
Which essentially drug down my GPA dramatically. I mean, when I say I got a whole quarter, so that was 5 classes of Fs. So it was like all straight flags, right? And I was trying to fight. Teachers were willing to give me the withdrawal, but the board, the chairman of my program was just a jerk and he just would not do it. He just, I mean, to this day, that man just irks my spirit because at every chance he got, he literally tried to derail me getting through school. So I quit school. Ugly, very ugly, right? And then it was a skin folk, so it was like really hurtful. So I ended up taking the Fs, being on bed rest my whole remainder of the year. Had Naraya, I remember being at Home Depot working the self checkout, and my manager at the time, she said, I'm not saying that I think what you did with having your daughter was a mistake, but I'm just disappointed because you have so much potential and you're better than being here. And she's like, I may be overstepping, but it just makes me sad. And I told her, I said, well, I'm going to finish school. And she said, I hope so. But the reality of it is that it's not going to happen. Now, in her
Who is this person?
So it was a manager that I had a lot of respect for. And in hindsight, I really understood where she was coming from with that because I did what she did. She had dreams, she had hopes, she had aspirations, and I think having her children derailed that for her. And so she saw a young.
So she gonna put all her trauma on you.
But it's kind of hard not to do that, right? And so I wasn't. The funny thing is I really did not take offense to it. What it did was it ignited a fire in me because my mother had felt that way also. So when I told her that I was pregnant, she was livid. I mean, didn't talk to me for 2 weeks, livid. Like, gave me the straight silent treatment because she had all of these dreams and hopes for me. She did not want me to make my journey to success more difficult. So she was upset. As her having been a teen parent, she knows that it's hard. So she was just really bothered, of course. So when my supervisor said that, it lit a fire in me. I kid you not. I punched out from work that day. I went and picked my baby up from daycare. In her car seat, I drove down to the school and I said, I am not leaving today until I'm enrolled in school for this fall. It was like 4 weeks till school was about to start. I said, until I'm enrolled, I come up with a plan for my tuition, even if I have to pay for some of it. I'm not leaving here today until this is taken care of. So I was at that school until they was done, like until I was done all night. But I started school that fall and then I finished. And it was one of the hardest things I had to do because again, that chairman was just, I mean, so many things was thrown at me not to finish. Like I lost my daycare, so I couldn't send my daughter to daycare. So I had to go over his head and petition to do independent study to finish. They switched the schedule. So the classes that I needed were now spread across a whole year. So I ended up having to do a whole extra year instead of a couple of quarters. So that was a challenge. I had a really dope professor to this day. I still just so grateful for him because he was very supportive, making sure that if I needed to bring my baby to class, I could bring her to class. And she was a good kid. She just sat there and drew and didn't say anything. But I'm just bringing all that up to say that when you decide to be a mother, you essentially, to your point with the mom saying you have to mourn the person that you thought you were going to be and that you are, it is so, so true. And we are not often given the permission, the tools, the knowledge or understanding that that's even a thing, because most of our mothers um didn't do that. So it's kind of like this, well, you just gotta roll with it. You made your bed, you gotta lay in it. And nobody is really giving you the permission to feel those emotions, that this is hard. Like being a mom is hard. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of it's a culture shock. I was shocked when I became a mom. I don't know if anyone else experienced this. If you experienced this, let us know. That if you experienced this, one of the hardest things for me about becoming a mom was just that I couldn't leave, just get up and leave. Like going someplace was like an Olympic event. I had to make sure I had bottles and diapers, and it was like 2 hours just to get out the house. And it's somebody that's always struggled with punctuality. It was like I ain't gonna never get no place on time ever again in life at the rate that I'm going. And it was a culture shock. Like I just remember crying. Funny story, but not funny story. I needed to go to the store to get a breast pump. Now, with my firstborn, I was tore from the rooter to the tutor. So I had stitches, okay, which I don't wish on no woman. That is just no, no, no. I had stitches and I needed to go get a breast pump. Now, it was cold, it was snowing. I didn't want to take my newborn baby there. My parents were at work. Everybody was gone. Robert was at work. Like it was just me and this baby. And I'm like, I just need to go to the store for a few minutes. Like I just need to run to the store. I just need to run to Target up the street. But I had to get that whole kid packed up in a snowsuit, in a car seat, cover the car seat, take stuff. Then, she pooped. So I had to get her out this car seat, clean her up.
Yeah, she pooped too.
I mean, it's a real thing. And I just remember crying. I'm like literally changing her diaper, crying. And I called one of my best friends who was like, can you just ride with me and just sit in the car so at least I don't have to try to walk with her with my butt stitched up through Target to get this breast pump, because there was no delivery at this point. So I had to go to the store. And that was such a culture shock to me, was that it's no getting up and running to the store. Like when I move, she moved. When where I go, she go. Like what's my buddy? Wherever I go, that this baby was stuck to my hip. And when you're not used to that, and it's like, man, I just need to do this one thing, or you don't get no sleep. I couldn't. Showers were like difficult, and no one really like prepares you for that. Nobody prepares you for that. What was your experience like with your coach? Did you have culture shock when you became a mom?
It's brand new and like legitly. I don't think I honestly, to be 100% transparent, I don't think I took the time to like mourn the old me. But immediately after having the baby, because a lot of people actually don't even know this, but I spent some time in the hospital after having the baby. And it was one point, honestly, I thought I was dying. My pregnancy and everything went amazingly. Delivery went fantastic, but then afterwards, we just had to stay for some monitoring or whatever. So I'm like, hey, no worries. But I took for granted, I guess, like how smooth everything went, and just thought I was A1. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking around, not eating like I'm supposed to, not, because I was at the hospital, like I wasn't home, and I eat a certain way. So, and Carlisa would drop off food at the hospital and stuff like that, but it's snacks and stuff. And I'm there for days. I was there for like a week or something like that. And I don't know what it was, dehydration or whatever it was, but I felt like I was dying. And I'm breastfeeding on top of all of that, or trying to figure out breastfeeding on top of all of that. And so in that moment, like I'm trying to breathe through it, but I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I'm with Jordan, and he's like trying to get me down because we up with in bad NICU and stuff, and now they trying to take me to the emergency room, which is downstairs, and trying to figure out like. And so at some point I was kind of freaking out, but then I just stopped and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to breathe. And I'm like, if I go right now, you know what I'm saying? It's hard because no new mother wants to think about that, right? Like immediately after having a baby. Like, if I go right now, you know. But it was just once I sat and really started to breathe or try to breathe and like think, and that is actually what calmed me, if that makes any sense. And in that moment, that was my first time really thinking like, if something happens to me, if I go, this little person, right? Like literally just had this little person. So like my life, it wasn't, you know, life flashed behind you before your eyes and you thinking about work and you thinking about all this other stuff. And it was like, I got a whole person there that is wholly depending on me for food and everything. Like, like this whole person. And that was that first time where it really hit me, you know, thank God everything was, you know, fine and all of that good jazz. Got some fluids and stuff and I was back to running around. But that was the first time it really hit me like it's a whole person that if something happens to me, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I love my mom. I know, you know, she was, you know, siblings and, you know, his dad, yeah, but me. Like me. Like, I'm the mama. I have a certain way that I want him raised, and I ain't nobody, you know what they say, ain't nobody gonna love your baby like you love your baby. You know,
no matter who it is, and they're not gonna do how you would do it. They're gonna do it the way they would do it.
They would do it. Like all the things. Totally get it. Mm-hmm. And so that was the first time that really set in, and that was early because that was like the week he was born, and so I'm like, yo, you know, and so that hit me strong and fast. And then just moving forward after that, getting used to breastfeeding and all of that and being home for the little while that I was home before I went back to work, and just realizing like this little mush, this little mush ball, right? This little thing they call a person.
I call them little burritos because they wrap up and they swallow. They look like a little burrito to me.
Right? It's like this little thing, right? And it makes it real to have the baby. Like during the pregnancy, that's different. For me at least, it was different. Like pregnancy, I would forget I was pregnant. Like I would just be running around flipping tables. I like until I looked down, oh man, that's right. Like I would forget I was pregnant. Like pregnancy was sweet. Like everything was cake. Like, but afterwards, like having a baby, like physical looking at this person, and he was so cool. He was so cool. Like he would sleep at night. We would wake up, hop on the boob, go back to sleep together. Like so sweet. All of that was cake. Breastfeeding for the most part was decent too. You know, like I was really blessed on all of those fronts. But at the same time, when you say can't move without
you can't move. Like
can't move.
Yo, that baby is, and it's I just really wanna give women a permission to sit in those emotions, that the shift is really, really big. Like for me, I felt like my shift started with pregnancy because I had all of these things going on while I was pregnant. I knew that it wasn't just about me having to decide either to try to stay at school and lose my baby, or decide to postpone school and stay home and get her here safe, you know. That was like my choice in mothering, and then my sacrifices came like immediately, like it was right out the gate. So I had a lot of shock with doing that. And then I think that my mom, you know, who is a very strong woman, and she's did it, and her mom did it. It's like this rule of, well, you'll be all right, and you just gotta, you know, get it. But I wasn't all right. Like I was really, really, really I had the baby blues with Naraya, and I realized that I had the baby blues with her, where it was like, okay, this is a big change. But going from 0 to 1 is a big change. But going from 1 to 2, when it's just you know, for the most part, doing everything, that period of my life when I first had Kyron was probably one of the hardest times of my life.
Because that's different.
Oh my God.
That is extremely different.
I
Like,
had
one person is hard enough to just taking care of her, not even thinking about all the other stuff right now. Just if we just think about the taking care of her. But then you add on top of the fact you gotta also take care of you. And then
you don't do. Like, you literally
what is that?
Taking care of you at that point, because everything becomes focused on that human being, that one person. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of pain that comes in that. You literally lose yourself. I have had to find myself again in motherhood so many times. Like right now, I'm in the journey again of finding me in the midst of being there for them and creating and molding and supporting 2 other human beings. And it took me, because my oldest is 16, so it took me about 15 years into my parenthood to realize, like, I'm still a person and I still matter in this journey. Like, in this role, I still matter. My whole everything, my whole existence doesn't have to be centered around being a mom. And I think that we feel guilty when we don't think like it does. Like, you feel guilty if you don't put your kids first. You feel guilty if you're a little selfish about something, because we're told that we're not supposed to do that. Like, when you become a mama, you're supposed to sacrifice, and it's not about you anymore, but it is about you.
And shout out to another movie on Netflix. I watch a lot of Netflix.
I see you, sis. I'm with you though. No judgment.
Otherhood. I don't know if you've seen Otherhood.
I haven't watched it yet, but a cousin of mine just said, like, you gotta watch this movie. So I'm planning on getting that in.
I may have watched that, I think last year. I don't think it was year before last. One or the other. But a while ago. And it's the other end of parenthood, when your kids are grown and it's like, okay, now how do I release them to let them be grown and figure out who I am and what I want to do, because now I have the time and opportunity and space to do that. And I think that's something that I try to remember as I mother. And this is a conversation people don't want to have or listen to mothers have, but mothers need to have. Your children will grow up and leave you, because that's what they're supposed to do. That you've done your job correctly when they go about their business. Like, they go to school or they, whatever they doing, they gonna leave your household and have to be able to sustain on their own. And when that time comes, what are you doing? Like, do you know who you are? Of course, there's gonna be a phase of really figuring that out. Empty nesting and all of that other jazz. But outside of that, what steps I feel are we taking as mothers on a day-to-day to create that balance where we are mothers, but we are women as well? And outside of being wives,
though.
Huh?
I don't think we're given a lot of permission to do that, though. I think that.
Hey, can I say something in all due respect? All due respect.
Go on, lay it on me, sis.
All the due of the respect.
Go ahead.
Yo, pardon my French, but fuck that. Who gotta give us permission? Who gotta give us permission?
Where you was going with that? I was bracing myself for the F-bomb.
Yeah, who gotta give us permission? Nobody. Us. We the us.
Yes.
We gotta give us permission.
That's the new pathway that we're forging, because that's something that I talk to Naraya about all of the time. And not just her, I talk to my son about that too. I talk to Kyron about that too, because I don't want him to grow up from a male's perspective and he feels like his existence is just to provide for other people, and he doesn't get provided for too.
That part.
I don't want him to grow up and believing that all of his aspirations and dreams are about achieving them so that he can only take care of his family. Like, take care of you too. Like, my dreams are important to me. Like, me being Sante is important to
And
me.
your children support you living your best life.
They
Like they
do.
support you. And when you live your best life and your kids see you living your best life, they know that they can live their best life also.
Yeah.
I want to show my one, I only got one. I want to show my
Right
little
now, you
guy.
know, I'm trying to wheel I'm trying to wheel some into existence. At least one more.
Girl,
One
just
more.
one more.
At least one.
I'm trying to show my babies, and you know, one day with my husband family, my future babies, okay, that's for each other.
One more. One more
I'm
future
trying to
husband.
show them my nieces and nephews too, and all the other young people I come in contact with, that one, being a mother means your life stops. That's not a thing. You know, it does take a village, some tribe, and some support.
Okay, wait, don't go past that point because that
Mm-hmm.
was a point that I really, really wanted to bring up with why the resentment. So, the whole topic today was to talk about how there's been this narrative going around that a lot of moms regret motherhood. And in all honesty, I've had moments where I have questioned, like, what the hell was I thinking? Like,
Oh, big facts. I
why
don't know a
did I
single mom
repeat
that can
it?
honestly, not lying, say that they
Oh my
haven't.
gosh. I have truly had moments like that. So I want to first validate any mom out there that has ever questioned, ever felt that way. Like, it's okay. Like, that doesn't make you a bad mother. You're not a bad person. It doesn't mean
And
that,
if you say you haven't, I
you
kind of
know,
don't trust
look, if you need to say that you
I don't
haven't,
trust you. I'm
so
gonna be
you know,
honest.
some people just, I will say some people just love being a mom. And I both love being a mom, and then sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired. Like, it takes a lot of fortitude and strength and resilience to be a mom.
Impatient.
It takes so much of that, and sometimes you drown it and you feel like you can't say anything. um Superhero, black superwoman complex in our community doesn't really give you the space to feel those things because you're just supposed to be mighty. It's looked at as a weakness if you feel those things, but it's not. And I really want to challenge mothers to be in tune with those emotions and allow themselves to sit in it and think about it. Because when I have found myself feeling that way, and I'll just be very transparent, I was feeling that way a little earlier this year where I was at a job that was stressing me out. And a big reason why I was at this job was because it was flexible for me being able to be here for my kids. And that was something I needed because my kids were and still are virtual. So I'm like, this job is working out where I can be here for my kids and they have to come first. I was underpaid and overqualified for what I was doing,
And overworked.
overworked. The culture was very toxic. There were so many reasons why it was time for me to jump ship. And I couldn't because this was what was best for my kids. And a lot of my life since I became a mom was like that. I had to quit school for a bit because it was either that or the life of my child. Then, you know, after I went through, drug myself through all of these things with school, finishing undergrad, going to get my master's. Now, I dropped the baby in the middle of my master's program, y'all. Like, hiring came 2 weeks after my master's program started. Okay, he was early, and it was like, oh hell, this was not supposed to be how it went. I still had some time until I was supposed to be done with this class, right? And he came early and it postponed everything. Like, I stayed home after I finished college. I stayed home and took care of the kids because economically it just made more sense. It was like daycare is astronomical for 2 kids, and we are just not going to do that. And it was like, that just makes no sense. We didn't qualify for any assistance for daycare, anything like that. So it was out of pocket. So it was like, okay, what kind of job am I going to have where really my income is doing more than just sustaining daycare? So it was the decision.
And while we here real quick,
go ahead.
Shout out to the early childhood for all. Hey, I was at a press conference and I spoke at a press conference this morning downtown for that. We need to support that bill, y'all. We talking about mothering, okay, and being 100% honest. That's a whole stress factor when we talking about mothering, especially for 2-parent households, but especially for single mothers. Childcare is stupid. It makes it that much harder to be a parent, male or female, because now you got to worry about this huge bill on top of all the other bills you was already struggling to pay, on top of time you already didn't have because you at work and trying to raise a baby. It's crazy.
It's hard, and it's very under discussed. Like, we don't talk about that part of parenting. It's very difficult. Like, and to be honest, not everyone, there's a lot of us that make too much where we're out of the possibility of getting those assistance. So then we stuck, but we don't make enough to afford daycare. Like, daycare is most people's mortgages. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had two kids. So it was like,
it's like college tuition.
Look, it's expensive as hell. And
on top of that, they don't pay the child care providers. They paying them like $3 an hour.
I mean, they are not paying them much, but it's just an all-around tough system, right? And for the mom that has, because I know I'm not the only mother that has had to make that choice where it was like dreams on hold. And we do a lot of that. We do a lot of postponing. And what happens in that is a resentment that we don't discuss. It's like it's the elephant in the room. And so when we're seeing these posts of moms saying that they regret motherhood, what they're really feeling is resentment. They're feeling resentment for the role because it takes so much more out of us than we're able to discuss, that we're supported on in so many ways. Not even.
And that honestly, I feel like we know is going to happen moving forward. It's like, and then that's another thing. Well, if you didn't want it, why you? Because we didn't know. Nobody knows. Nobody fully knows what this is until you get up in it, and then you in it. Like, oh man.
And I preach that all the time. If I had a nickel for all the things that I thought I knew before I actually got in the thick of it, it's a whole different thing. I mean, you don't say, I love them backyardigans now. I love the yardigans, but it's so much stuff that we don't really understand the nuances of it until we're actually like in it and we're doing it and we're actively parenting or married or trying that thing. And so that was the thing for me for parenting. I knew it was going to be tough because I watched parents struggle with parenting, but until I was a mom, and then I thought it was going to be a little different because I had Robert. It was like, well, I'm with my kid's father, so it's going to be different. No, it was still hard. It was mostly me because it was also important that I didn't want both of our dreams to be derailed. And I feel like, let me do this and you finish and you go and do your thing. And then, I'm gonna go back. Like, I was trying to make that sacrifice for a multitude of reasons. I wanted to parent my own kids. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be present for room parties and field trips. And if they're sick or having, need me to come to the school, I wanted to be able to just get up and go and get my kid and not have to depend on somebody else. So it was a lot of reasons I made that choice. But it doesn't mean that it was an easy choice or I didn't have some sadness in having to make that choice, because I'm a person of big dreams, big goals. Like, there's so many things even today that I want to do. And a lot of the reason why I don't go as hard as I would like to go on things is because my kids still need me. I am still such a stable force in their life. When I rock the boat, for me, I'm rocking them too, because I'm the constant. So it's like, okay, I can't do that yet because they're not ready. You know, it took a lot for me to jump out and to go to a new job, because that was a shift. That meant that I was going to have to do some things that I wasn't doing previously. How is this going to affect the babies? How is this going to work with our lifestyle and then working remote for school? So
but that's the thing about motherhood, like from birth on, or even pregnancy on, is like every thought is now not just your own.
It's not.
It's someone else's. You have to consider that other human being now, and if you have more than one, those other human beings, and how what you do moves their chess pieces across the board as well. So even when I think we don't take the time to think about that sometimes, all the time when we need to, because we are a lot of the times just kind of think kids are extras, like they added on, when really what we're doing is affecting them, and then we act like we don't care. And I say that in regards to, like, for example, like someone moving, right? And they moving around a lot, and that means the kid is moving around a lot, right? So that's affecting their mental health, that's affecting their friend base, that's affecting grades and acclimating to school. Like, that's affecting all of these different things. Now, I would beg to differ. Like, sometimes you have to move for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? But then other times you don't. Can we make a decision or ask the children, especially when they're of age, or whatever that is, depending on, you know, age level for whatever the situation may be. But talk to our children and really get an understanding for how they feel about certain things. And if it can't be helped, can we break it down to them and help them explain why these things are happening, so they don't just feel like things are happening to them. And I know it's hard because we're talking about motherhood today, and we always got to think about the kids, right? We always got to think about them kids.
All the time.
All the time. But I think we should also respect the fact that they're individuals, and they don't think the way we think all the time, and they don't feel the way we feel all the time too. Just like I would recommend for our family members, friends, spouses, co-parents, all of these people who are in our lives, to understand, as a mother, we gonna move differently than y'all, and we gonna need y'all support. And as mothers, we have to be comfortable asking for that support. Like, when you were like, I'm crying, changing this diaper, trying to get up out this house, can I phone a friend? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be okay phoning a friend. We have to be okay with being like, look, I just need this right now.
But we also, as a society, have to not shame mothers when they do that, because I think that there's a lot of shame that has happened over the course of the generations, where it was like, you can't ask for help, or you need to do it yourself, or you need to tough through it. Like, I got through it, I did it, and I had 18 kids, and you need to, you'll be all right. It's a lot of shame that comes with that. So a lot of us don't ask, and we suffer in silence. But I needed, I knew I had to ask, child. I could not walk. Okay. I had stitches from the root to the
and that's why I started off by saying, like, family, friends, spouses, co-parents, whomever, we really need everybody on the same page,
right?
Because, and then we as mothers, because, and I'm gonna put it on us as well, we have to be transparent, because we all got Mighty Mouse syndrome. We all do. We all got the superhero complex, strong black woman ordeal. Okay, we all got it, but we got to put that shit to the side for our mental health. Okay, like, if you just need a nap, look, you better create a nap schedule with you and your homegirl. Like, look, sis, you can nap on Tuesdays if I can nap on Wednesdays. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I come over with your kids, you come over with my kid, like, whatever it is, figure it out. Cause, like, you don't have to just suffer. You don't have to. And that is where, like you said, that resentment comes in, because you can't think if you're tired. If you're tired, like mamas be tired. Y'all don't understand.
Exhausted.
Mamas be tired. The mental gymnastics we have to do alone, let alone the actual working umpteenth hours of an actual job, then coming home or before the job or in between the job, taking care of kids and washing dishes and cleaning up and laundry and baby.
Don't mention laundry. Laundry is never ending. I'm so sick of laundry. Sorry to say.
Tired. You hear me talking to
I
you?
just had to say that.
Girl. And so, like, when you think about all the things, I'm talking about mental and physical, all the things, tired. It's hard to think. It's hard to have compassion. It's hard to have patience when you are tired.
Mm-hmm.
Everything them kids do will be tip tapping on that last nerve because the nerve is hanging on by a thread.
Can I
You
add
have
to that more than just
yeah.
being tired? It's hard to be a good mother when you don't like who you are.
Mm.
And I think that we don't say it, but that's really what it is. I had to come to grips with it that I had some internal shame within myself that I wasn't the woman that I thought I would be at this point in my life. I was like, I am so different. Like if Doc came with the DeLorean and I was able to go back to 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22-year-old Sante before I peed on a stick and found out my new pathway, right? I am not the woman that I envisioned I would be at that young woman, as that young woman. And I did not like myself. And it took a lot for me to say that, like to be very honest and transparent with myself, because everyone else would say, but you're a great mom and you're hardworking and you're so smart and you've accomplished A, B, C, D, and you have a husband and you have this and you have that. And I was like, yeah, but that wasn't at all who I thought I was going to be. It took for me about, I want to say about 5 or 6 months ago to have that very tough conversation with myself where I was like, why am I sad? Why am I sad? What is really going on? And what it really was that I didn't like who I had become. It wasn't that who I had become was a bad person. I don't think I'm a bad person. It just was different. It was different. And I had not, as you had brought up, mourned that person that I thought I was going to be. What I had done was still kind of have hope, like, when will I be able to be this person? I have to be this person, instead of recognizing like, I'm never going to be that girl. Like, I'm never going to be that woman that I thought I was going to be when I was 21.
Not in the way that you thought you would be.
I'm never going to be that girl because that girl had no kids, no husband. She was traveling all over the world. All she was doing was being about herself and her coin. That was it. And that's what I had envisioned for myself. So I am never going to be that girl. And that's okay. I had to tell myself and get to a point where I had to recognize that that was okay. And a lot of that shame, I had to dig deep. So this is part of my healing journey, and recognize that the reason I was so afraid to be the woman I am today was because my mom didn't want me to be that woman for a while. I think she's proud of me now, of course. But before I got to this point, she did not want me to have children, or at least not have them until much later in my life. This is not the journey she would have thought for me. So I grew up hearing that this is what she wanted me to do. This is what I should be doing. Society tells you that, this society tells you that you're supposed to be a boss bitch and you're supposed to be about this and going out and doing this and that and third. And it's very hard to do that and then prioritize your family because you only have a 100%. There's only one you and 100% of yourself. And what you do is you prioritize. You decide what is going to get what percentage of you. And something is going to always get more of you than other things. And for me, it was my kids had to have the tip top priority, had to have the most of me. And I'm just getting to a point where I'm like, they need to have the most of me sometimes. Sometimes I need to have the most of me. sometimes I need to give to myself before anyone else because I'm pouring from a cup. I'm empty and I don't have anything. And it took for me to really sit down and say to myself, like, why do I not like myself? Why am I ashamed of who I've become? Like, where does that come from? And to unpack that and to deal with that. And then to finally say, you know what? I ain't perfect, but I actually think I do like myself and I do like who I've become. And it's okay that I'm not the person I thought I would be. I like to think that I'm better. I'm better in some ways than what I would have been if I didn't take this journey. And I think to your point with the movie, I love the part in the movie Look Both Ways, how people tell you that kids will make your journey difficult, but the journey that she took when she wasn't pregnant, she still had challenges.
That part, it was like it's gonna be difficult either way. Life is difficult either way. You're gonna have ups and you're gonna have downs. Either way. But not saying that one is better than the other, but either way, you're gonna be okay. You still have to find yourself. You still have to prioritize yourself and your dreams. You still have to pivot in both lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things are still things, no matter which path you go down. But with motherhood, you just have a beautiful person to share it with.
That's it. That's it. And that's super important that we look at it like that. I wanted to make mention of a comment. I'm just now seeing it. Margaret. Hey, Margaret. I never call her Margaret. That's so weird for me to even say that. But being a mom is questionable to me at almost 60. I'm sure it is to my younger women. Totally normal to have those moments at any stage when you are a mom. I could not agree more. We want to give, the permission for you to sit with that and for you to feel that and to question, like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, why did I do that? Because I don't think to that point.
Thank you for your transparency.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I have times where I joke to myself, Shalil will do something or just be extra annoying or whatever it was, and I'll just laugh to myself and be like, have kids, they say. Like, stuff like that. And that's real, because in that moment I'm like, yep, this is the life I chose. Yep. And I gotta be good with that. Like, this is what I chose. I chose this. And then if it wasn't there, I would honestly be sad. But in my moments, I'm still gonna be like, yo,
what the
hell? Gotta remind myself I chose this. Cause
I'm here to tell you, Jaleel is still small. You gonna have real moments like that. You ain't seen no moments when you question everything about life. It's literally been times I have sat in my car, no music playing, just sat in the car and been like, now what the hell was I thinking? Like, why did I do this?
I laugh because when you talked about earlier not leaving the house, or like leaving the house and having a child with you and the ordeals that come along with that, it does not stop when they get older, just so we're clear. And I know Jaleel ain't that much older, but it does not stop when you get older, because now, even when I'm leaving the house without him, thank goodness, sometimes my mom is here and I'm like, hey, I'm going to make this run real quick. I'll be right back or something like that. And she's like, okay. Even in those moments, now he checking for me. Like, he'd be like, where are you going? Why are you putting on your jacket? Where are you going? What time will you be back? Where is it? What was it? Like, all the questions.
Ma'am, I have a 12-year-old that does that and a 16-year-old. Kyra will time me, okay? Where are you going? It takes, girl, I'll be in Jewel, which is up
on Google, like, the store is 10 minutes away.
He knows because he's living with me before. He's like, how many things? He'll ask me, where are you going? okay, how many are you shopping, or are you just picking up a couple of things?
Wow.
And then I'll be like, I'm just picking up a couple things. I'll be back. Okay. Ring, ring, ring. Hi, mommy. Where are you? I'm like, I'm still at Jewel. You're still at Jewel? Like, yeah.
You
Oh,
said
okay.
you
I'm
was
not
gonna get a couple
concerned.
things.
You said you were, so look, I swear, Jewel is only about 10 minutes, 15 minutes if it's traffic, because I know you complain about Harlem. It's like traffic. So 15 minutes, and then, you got to park the car, but you're only getting a few things. So I think that it should have only took you like about 45 minutes, but you've been gone in 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 52 seconds. Where are you coming from? Like, he's like that. And I'll be like, excuse me, Dad. You are not my dad.
What child?
That child clocked me. If he could have a low jack on me, I'm checking my shoes to see if I got like a tracker. Clocking me. Okay. So I have to be a ninja to leave my house. Like, I need the whole ninja smoke and everything. It's like a distraction. But it, like, to your point, they don't grow out of it.
It don't stop. So, and that's the thing. Yeah. Like, I feel like every mother deserves the right to say, today, mothering is hard. Yeah. Or even right now, in this moment, mothering is hard. Because that's the reality of life. Prioritizing our mental health and going upon a healing journey is understanding that we are all human with the influx of emotions, and that when that happens, humanity, when that happens, right, we have to understand that we are going to disappoint somebody. We're going to drop the ball sometime. We're going to be angry sometime. We're going to be sad sometime. Sometimes we ain't gonna know how to feel. And that's, all of those things are okay. All of those things are a part of being a human being. There is no such thing as perfection. All of those things will happen at one point or another in our day or in our lives. And understanding that is being comfortable saying, as a mother, I'm a F up. I'm not perfect. But I'm gonna try my best to be. And when I'm not, I'm gonna say sorry. You know what I'm saying? And try even again. In that moment, and try again. And even in the moments where I'm imperfect and I say sorry, that is a perfect moment for me, because that is showing my child that they have to also take accountability for their actions and apologize as well. You know what I'm saying? Making everything a teachable moment. That, because life is gonna happen. And we need to tell our kids and teach them early that things ain't gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna have breakfast cooked for you with flowers and boopity boops every day, because you ain't gonna get that every day.
Some days it's gonna be them Lucky Charms, and
you know what I'm saying?
You gonna be, they're magically delicious. You will be okay.
Me? Being a parent means I'm gonna teach you how to do some stuff on your own, so you know how to do it when I'm not around. Like, being a parent is different for each mother. Each mother makes that decision and that choice on whatever those things are for them. But in every form of parenting or household or whatever, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna be human. Teach your kids that they're going to be human and what to do in those human moments. I tell my son, I'm like, look, right now, son, in this moment right here, player, I'm gonna need you to back up.
I'm gonna need you to give me some space.
I'm gonna need my space, because I'm keeping my peace. All right, I'm setting boundaries right now, son. And he says, okay. He's like, all right. You know, and he'll go watch TV in the living room for a while and then come back like, you good? I'm like, all right, give me a hug.
Can I come back?
Right, he come knock on the door. Like, for real, knock, PQ, you good? Give me a hug. All right, I'm cool now.
Jaleel already a whole man out here, checking the temperature, like, is she good? Like, am I still in trouble? Like, you know what I'm
saying? Teach him early. But like, in those moments, like, we gotta be okay and with not being okay, so that our kids can be okay and not be okay. We have to be okay with stepping outside of our comfort zone and living so that our kids know that they can step outside of their comfort zone and live. We can't live solely for them because they shouldn't be living solely for nobody else. And all of those are teachable moments. And yes, sometimes parenthood sucks. Okay?
It's tough.
Sometimes you want to go just kick it. And you don't want to have to think about no kids. Sometimes.
I got a confession. One time I went and filled my whole car up. Was like, I'm just gonna drive until I don't got no more gas. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I'm just gonna go for a long drive.
Do it.
Cause I'm tired and I need a break.
Mental health
I
is
need a
important.
break. When I was like some years back, and I would put it all on Facebook. I would purposely leave things at the store because the Jewel that I used to go to was 24 hours. So I would go and just walk around Jewel with a cart. And I would have like literally nothing in the cart, just walking around Jewel just because I needed a break. It would be the middle of the night. And I'll never forget, it was like 1:30 in the morning once I was in there. I just had butter in my cart. I don't know why I needed butter. I just
at 1:30 in the morning.
It was 1:30 in the morning. I had a box of butter in my cart, and I was in an aisle with a lady. And it was so funny. It was like something in the movie. We just looked at each other and was like, she didn't have nothing in her cart either. And we just looked at each other, was like,
yeah.
I see you. Like, I see you. And we just started busting up laughing. Just me and her. Because at 1:30 in the 24-hour Jewel, it's like nobody in there. It's like two people that work the register. You got one person on the floor. It's like a ghost town in there, but it's quiet. You just kind of have a minute. And we just looked at each other and just started laughing because we knew that we both was running away from home in the Jewel. Because you have days like that.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart. It is difficult, and it is okay if you feel like you're not feeling it today. Like, this motherhood thing is not what you thought it was, and it's not glamorous. Sometimes it's tough. You're not a bad mom. You're not a bad person if you have those moments where you're a little resentful, because it takes so much and nobody prepares us for that. We just know that our mother sacrificed, but we don't know to the magnitude until we're doing the sacrificing. And when we're in it, it's like, dang, like, I didn't know I signed up for this. Like, you give up so much. It's not just about you anymore. So I encourage you all to sit in that space. Give yourself the freedom to feel those thoughts. Recognize that they are normal, that you're not a bad mom. You haven't failed them. If you kind of have buyer's remorse, it's this one commercial I love where the lady walks into the hospital and she's like, hi, I just want to return my baby. And the nurse is like, no, you can't return it. It's like, I brought it home and it just doesn't really go with all of the stuff I have there already, like the decor and all of that. I want to bring it back. And the nurse is like, sorry, lady, you can't bring your baby back. And she's like, okay, can you just hold the baby for a second? And so then she gives the baby to the nurse and she takes off running out the door. And the nurse is just like, and she goes under the desk and pulls out a drawer, and there's all these babies sitting in the drawer, and she's like, another one, and she just put it in there and pushes it back under the desk. I'm sure each of us have had moments where we've been like, okay, what was I thinking? Like, I joke with my kids and be like, I wonder if my warranty expired. I used to tell them, like, are y'all too old to be at the fire station? Because it's hard. You be like rethinking everything when you're a mom. Okay. And you're not a bad person. I really encourage that what that really means is that you've lost you and you need to find you again and start doing things to find you again. And some people have a better or more of a privilege in that exploration and that journey of refining, rediscovering themselves. Some women don't really have a village. They don't have a support system. So it's harder for them to find themselves again, but try to find you. It's really, that's what it bottles down to, is that you've lost sight of you as a person. You have centered your existence around service and taking care of your kids. but not service and taking care of you. And so I encourage that that's what you need to look to. What are your closing thoughts, sis, on this topic of motherhood?
I want to say I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think in moments where I find myself overly frustrated or just patience is gone, when I step away, when I focus on something that I need to focus on, when I have time for myself, when I have, self-care days, I come back and I miss his little face. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know how they say absence make the heart grow fonder? It's literally that. It's literally that. When you have time to, and again, everybody doesn't have this luxury. It is definitely a blessing and a privilege that we cannot take for granted. But tribe and village, you gotta build it, even if they're not built in, like family, friends, people that you trust, for sure. Babysitters, and that's depending on finances. But we have to find a way to carve out a little piece of time for ourselves, because that makes us better parents. It truly makes us better parents. If we don't have time for ourselves, if we don't have time to take that store run and just, at 1:30 in the morning or whatever it is, if we don't make the time for ourselves, then we don't have time to truly enjoy our children. And that's that part. That's that part that makes it all worth it. Because it could just be hard.
Yeah.
All the time. Don't nobody want that all the time. That is throw the whole thing away right there. Don't nobody want that all the time. Let's find ways to amplify the joy of just being with our children. Because when I'm not overly stressed, or I'm not, all working on something else, or just uptight, that's the moments where I can just hear him when he talks to me, because he just wants to talk to me. Or when I hear him in passing say something and I'm like, yo, you are a dope human being. That was super cool. Or he sees something and I'm like, yeah, I could actually stop and see it and go, man, that do look like that. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the moments I live for. And as a mother, as many times I be like, have kids, they say, I'm like, dang, you a dope human being. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I do.
And those are the moments that make everything worth it. And I know that he is on loan to me. You know what I'm saying? He's not mine forever to keep bottled up. He's on loan to me. And one day he gonna be out living his life, and I'm gonna want him to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna want him to say, I picked him up from school, like, how was your day? What you doing? He'd be like, Mom, turn on the radio.
Like, I feel like it today. Now he at the age too where he gotta go to school and he gotta deal with other human beings, and he probably be exhausted too. He probably be like,
hi, girl. We live 6-minute trip from the school to the house, and he be KO.
I believe it. So he tired. He just be needing some peace and quiet. That's
like he legit be like, Mom, I didn't pull off today. And he was like, why aren't you driving? You should be driving.
Look, your kids be tired of you too, okay?
You know?
And I like aggravating my kids. I have so much joy. So like how you were saying your joy is to be able to hear them. One of my favorite parts of parenting, because I'm a silly parent, I'm very silly. So I just do random silly stuff. And I'm constantly messing with my kids. And it just does my heart so good because they be so annoyed. Like, I kid you not, I find new ways to aggravate them, and it just amuses me. Now, they laugh most of the time, but it'd be a time or two they be like, you really get on my nerve. Like, Kyron low-key was like, you just need a life. Like, you need to get outside. And you need to go and be with your friends. Like, you need to go and be with your friends because this is ridiculous. And it's usually just random stupid stuff. Like I have posted once, I love just yelling like, oh my God, it's broke. And they're like, what? And I'd be like, my butt, they all have cracks in them. Every butt has cracks in them. And they just be like, and they fall for it every time. I'll call them in here and just start throwing socks at them or just tossing stuff at them. And they be coming in just trying to see what's going on. And they get like a rolled up bottle of socks to the head. And it's just, I'm that type of parent. I just bust in a room and be looking around. And they're like, really? Especially Mariah, like, seriously? Oh, no, I just came to say hi.
And happy belated birthday to the baby girl.
I turned 16 on Sunday, and I did not cry.
Look at you.
I know, I'm growing up. It's the growth. You see it? You see the growth? I didn't cry. It was hard. I literally wanted to because, you know, in Facebook, they give you the memories. So on that day, I was seeing like her birth pictures and stuff. And I'm like, dang.
Oh.
I know it feels
Facebook
like
and Google Photos is good for it, man.
Had me
how you
my feelings. I'm like a whole 16. It seems like just.
And today's my niecey boo's birthday.
Happy birthday! I forgot she's 2. Is it October? Because they're the same age. We might have to make that.
Also 16.
Yes, we might have to make that connection for them to get to know each other. But before we go, I would like to send out a huge thank you, a huge congratulations, a huge wow to the Healing Academy and to Natalie Battles and Dion Victoria, as well as the other board members that put on a bomb gala. And I really, really, really want to see more people at this gala. I had a ball, and one of the things that I really, really, really enjoyed was that there was real art. The art was beautiful that they were selling and showcasing. So if you are into art, like these are some serious pieces. You all want to check them out and get some of the arts that they have there. They're still for sale. Like, I can't wait to get me a couple pieces. It was one piece where I really had my eye on, but I didn't want to get into the throwdown that was happening.
Oh, baby, it was a bidding war.
It got real.
It was serious.
It got serious. And it kind of took everybody off guard because my homie thought it was going to be easy. And then on the paddle, it was like.
Yes. It was real. Those be the most turned parts, like when the bidding wars pop up, people go, everybody get into it. Like people stop doing what they doing. Like,
it got heated, okay. But the artwork is stunning. Remember, art is an investment. Support. Y'all know Jay-Z said I bought some artwork for $1 million. 2 years later, it's worth $2 million. You need to come on now. Like,
come on in.
Invest. And so if you are hearing or seeing any events or things coming up, like the Healing Academy is doing dope things. They're often partnering with other folks. They're having dope panels, dope discussions in the community, just doing so much dope stuff. Like, please support. We always say that we want to have representation in our communities for our kids, as far as like the arts and learning, just like all of these schools, everything. And the Healing Academy is doing that. So they need your support to make it free also. So they're not having parents that can't afford these services, trying to just go without them. So please support, donate when you can, contribute when you can. And I'm so blessed, so excited to have been an honoree this year. I did not, well, yes, I cried. I cried a little bit.
I better clap it up for my sis, okay?
I cried a little. I you know what's funny is I held it together during the speech, and then once I got down, I couldn't stop. I was like,
you held it together for the speech, though.
I held it together for the speech, but when I sat in that seat, honey, them tears, like, it was over. It was over. And then just hearing the other speeches and just it's just some amazing folks out here doing some amazing work. I'm excited. A lot of them are ready to jump on the show. So we're gonna have some of those honorees on the show coming up. So really, really, really support y'all. We could do this together. We all about healing.
Yes.
And we it's the only way it's gonna happen is if we do it for ourselves. So
big thanks. And celebrate my sis because they're social emotional learning award winner. Okay.
And I got my plaque on display. I just looking at it like, look at that. Just look at that.
How did the babies react when you got home with
Oh my gosh. Naraya was texting me at the event. She was like, pictures? What's going on? What's happening?
Give me pictures.
Like and I'm just so in a closing thought because I know we passed the time, but you know, her 16th birthday, which is a milestone, it was her 16th on the 16th because she's an October 16th birthday. So
golden.
And when you called about being the winner, I was torn. I was like, but it's my baby's birthday weekend and we're gonna do all of this stuff to celebrate, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to, you know, take away her shine or anything. So I told her about it, and her response will stay with me for the rest of my life. And every single time I look at that plaque, I'm going to also have that part of the memory, because she was like, you're getting an award? Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. What do you mean you can't go? Can I come? Which, by the way, my daughter had a message that it shouldn't just be for adults. Teens need to be allowed to come to the.
She said let her in. But it's not. Last year, Marcus brought his daughter, both his daughters, and one of them like 6. Like it is not just for adults.
My baby felt some kind of way.
It is not just for adults.
She felt some way.
The babies need to see the amazingness as well.
She felt some way. She said, "How come it's just for adults? How come I can't come? Like, what you mean I can't go?" So in the future,
she is welcome.
Next gala, I'm gonna have to bring my baby because
we put them kids to work. They can model some art.
She was not feeling it. That she was not coming, but she was just so supportive. That I mean, and everywhere we went, my mom's getting an award.
Yes. See, and that's what we talking about. Like today with motherhood, like those are the moments where you know for me, some of the best moments of being a mom is when he repeats something that I've taught him.
Yeah. Trust me, I be in here crying, honey. Like
when he told me I need to feel my feelings in the car that day, I'm like, look, yo.
Facts.
Yo. You know what I'm saying? Like he turned around and told me the other day I was in a meeting actually. And he sat on my lap in the middle of the meeting and started playing YouTube videos on the computer directly in front of me. And I'm like, Lord. All right. When you getting ready to do auditions for this show and live, he sat on here and started playing YouTube videos. And I'm like, my apologies, y'all. You know, my son came over and started playing videos. I was like, mommy life, right? And he turns around and he says, yes, and mommy's life is beautiful. And
listen, even the student is the teacher sometimes.
I couldn't even be mad at him for interrupting my meeting.
Look, if you don't want to have to take your own advice, then don't be saying it. Then you know, Jaleel gonna hold you accountable.
He ain't gonna do nothing else.
He like you said.
He gonna hold you accountable. He gonna hold you accountable. And like showing up for our kids by showing up for ourselves, they take that, they understand that, and they appreciate that. I heard a conversation with this woman in closing, maybe 20-something, maybe 30-something. She was saying how they wrote some sort of panel, and she was saying how she wished her parents didn't sacrifice everything that they sacrificed.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yes.
That's so real.
That. Yeah.
Because I feel when I think of my mother, I don't think of her in the lane of self-care. I don't think of her in the lane of, you know what I'm saying, really living outside of for us. And granted, she was a single mom and it was 4 of us. You know what I'm saying? So what? But even to this day, I'm like, one thing that I want to be able to do for my mother is allow her the grace financially and time wise to just live. Because I don't know if she's ever had the opportunity to do that and not have to worry about one of her kids or her grandkids.
And you know, to Nat, and I know we keep saying we gonna hop off, but this is just such an important topic. It is the fact that they have sacrificed so much, where that resentment comes from, because you're not going to get enough of a return where the sacrifice will truly feel worth it unless you feel that it was your choice to make those sacrifices. Mm-hmm. We cannot hold our kids accountable for making those decisions. If when I decided to be a mom and I decided that I wanted to be instrumental in their day-to-day, like school, just day-to-day life and growing up, upbringing, especially when they were younger, that was my choice. I chose that. That is not their burden. They don't owe me. They're not indebted to me because of it.
Right.
That was my choice. And that was a part of that journey of recognizing that I didn't like who I was, but it was my fault. I was the common denominator on that because I had stopped giving to myself. And I had convinced myself that I had to give all of me to be this phenomenal mother. And then I was resentful for it because it wasn't just enough. So you bring up a spectacular point in closing with, we wish that you don't sacrifice everything for your kids, so that you don't punish them for it. You don't make them responsible for it.
Because Naraya say, Miss what award?
Look.
She say, Miss who? Miss what? You going and you gonna send me selfies when you get there.
She sure did. And I literally teared up. And she said, because you know, I get on her nerves. She's like, are you crying? A little bit, yeah. I'm a little bit emotional. And she was like, oh gosh. But I mean, also just seeing her, I mean, we in the grocery store, we at the beauty supply store. I'm on the phone. Mom is getting an award. I mean, she has just been
proud of her
it from the rooftops. I wasn't even saying anything. And she's like, you're not gonna tell them about your award that you're getting?
Excuse me. My mother's getting an award. I mean, yes, I would like ice.
and it just really did my heart good. And it made the honor just so much sweeter because my people were just so geeked, so excited for me. And they are a big reason why I do what I do anyway. They are my muses. So it's happy to be able to show them that you inspire me. And look, your inspiration, this is the reward for that. So I appreciate y'all. Well, we gonna get off this live. Thank y'all for joining us. If you're not joining us tonight, remember you can always watch past episodes on our Facebook pages, including We Gon Talk page. We also have a page on YouTube and Twitch. And then hopefully we'll be trying to put some links and some things on Instagram, also. So we trying to make those changes and those shifts. And yeah, thank y'all for staying with us and rolling with us tonight. Have a good night. Stay safe. See y'all in 2 weeks. Peace. Oh, and my sister was doing it with the orange.
The orange.
Listen.
With that orange.